Hello everyone and welcome to BodyBags. I'll be your reviewer for today. I'm Lonnie from Tats. And who knows? This could very well be this could be the one. This could be the one video, the one review where after this video I may wind up having to tender my resignation to BodyBags. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see what happens. But no. Okay, I'm sure you all know, like, this week we've been doing a theme week, and the week we've been doing is titled Wokeism Be Damned, which is basically we review movies that if you're woke, you're not going to like these movies. And the one that I picked is from 1983. It's gotten a little bit of a backlash here in the last few years, but I have to admit, not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. But yeah, you already know by the title, I'm talking about Sleepaway Camp. So yeah, the first one that started the Sleepaway Camp series. And yeah. Okay, now here's the problem. Okay, usually whenever whenever we do videos on body bags, usually the idea is, like, we try not to give away too much. We try not to give away the ending. We try not to give away too many details. We try to leave it, well enough so that you can, you can enjoy our video even if you haven't seen the movie. But here's the problem. Considering the theme of the week, and even though I'm pretty sure that probably most of you have already seen this movie anyway, if you're watching this video, you've probably already seen it. But the problem is, I can't really discuss this movie without giving away the ending of this. Yeah, I can't discuss the movie without giving away the ending. So, yeah, I would ask that probably if you haven't seen the movie, it would be best for you to stop right now, go watch the movie, and then if you want to, you can come back afterwards. Okay? So, here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to start talking about the movie. Now, movie written and directed and produced by Robert Hiltzik, and shot in New York, and financed with his, if I understand correctly, it was financed with his inheritance after his mother passed away, or at least part of the budget came from this. We open in 1975, where we have John Baker and his friend Lenny, and his two kids, Angela and Peter. John and Angela and Peter on, like, a little sailboat out on the lake, and they're just enjoying a day out and having a good time, and they accidentally capsize their little boat, and meanwhile there's a speedboat, and one of the counselors named Marianne decides she wants to drive the speedboat, and she takes over, and she ends up killing John the father. And it looks like, Peter has also been killed. So we cut to 8 years later. And it looks to be that Angela is the only survivor. And Angela is now living with her cousin Ricky and her Aunt Martha. And Aunt Martha is very, very weird and completely, yeah. I think all of us who've ever watched this movie kind of like, what the hell was that? But anyway, so she ends up sending Ricky and Angela. She sends them to Camp Arawak, and so they get there, and they just trying to have a good time at camp. And Angela is very shy. She's very quiet. She's not, she basically just stays to herself. She's not bothering anybody. She goes into with the girls in the girls' cabin, and she ends up. Basically, she becomes the target of kind of the mean girl. Not Meg. Meg was the counselor. Judy. Okay, the mean girl Judy and the counselor Meg. She ends up becoming basically their punching bag. And so we also, so Ricky seems like he's having a much better time at camp than Angela is. Like I said, Angela is just kind of staying to herself and all this. But the problem is Angela ends up becoming, everybody's like after Angela. Everybody's always picking on her. Everybody's giving her a hard time. And at one point, they realize like Angela is not eating, so they end up, one of the counselors, Ronnie, he takes her to the kitchen, and he's asking, the chef or one of the cooks to, help her find something that she likes to eat. And so the guy takes her in the back of the kitchen and tries to sexually assault her. And so this guy ends up being basically, he ends up being scalded, when he gets a pot of, boiling hot water with corn dumped on him. And then, we start seeing a series of really, gruesome and inventive kills, that, and it's somebody who is messing with Angela. And so, of course, the movie really does feel like a Friday the 13th ripoff, because you have, you got these kills going on. You're trying to figure out who's doing the killings, and you got, the camp setting and things like this. And then, so it's just trying to figure out what is going on here, who's doing what. And so now we're going to kind of get to the part. Sorry, my throat's really dry. So now we're going to get to the part where we talk about this. At the end of the movie, like I said, I've already given you a spoiler alert, so here we go. At the end of the movie, it is revealed that Angela is actually Peter. It turned out that actually the real Angela and her father, John, they were the ones who were killed. Peter ended up going to stay with Aunt Martha and Cousin Ricky. But the thing is that Aunt Martha decided she was going to force Peter to become Angela, because Aunt Martha wanted a girl. And so you can imagine what this does to a child. And so, Peter is forced into this role of being Angela and stuff. And so now, Peter/Angela is now doing the killings, and you realize the reason why, for two reasons. Number one is just to get back at the people who wronged her, him, they, them, however you want to say it. And then the other reason is to obviously, to keep the identity secret, to not let it be known that Angela is really a boy. And so this was a pretty shocking ending, and it was definitely one of the things. It turned the movie into a real cult classic, and it helped get the movie a lot of critical praise and helped it become one of the big slasher movies in the 80s, and it helped bring out, a small franchise, which it got, 3 more sequels, and then there was another one that was kind of sort of made but not really finished, called Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor, stuff like that. But so anyway, yeah, the thing is like this movie has had quite a bit of backlash over it, because saying it's not the most friendly to transgender and everything. But I mean, when you think about it, technically Angela /Peter really is much more of a victim than a monster, because like I said, Angela /Peter for the most part doesn't bother anybody. Just kind of does their own thing, just kind of goes their own way. It's everybody else who's messing with Angela and giving Angela a hard time all the time. And and it does kind of try to set up a little bit that kind of maybe hint that maybe Ricky is the one doing the killing. And that also kind of adds into it too, when you figure that it turned out that when they made the movie, I think Felissa Rose was only maybe 14, 13 or something like that at the time the movie was made. And so her mother didn't want her to, be actively doing the killing and all that other kind of stuff. And so some of the more kind of, violent material and stuff like this. So anyway, Johnathan Tierston, who played Ricky, doubled for her, and did, a lot of the, stepped in for her, did a lot of the hand stuff and everything else. So yeah, it would kind of make sense that, kind of lead maybe this idea that maybe Ricky is the killer and stuff like this. So, you kind of get it. But like I said, it turns out really that more Angela is much more of a victim, because you figure, that Peter, is ended up being forced into this role, You know, and you know, people are like, oh, that doesn't really happen and all that kind of stuff. The hell it doesn't. Okay, you get on TikTok, there are videos on there. There are, you know, people on there doing videos. You have these, you know, like very, very man-hating mothers. I mean, just man-hating, just feminists getting on there. And I mean, they are literally saying the most horrendous things you could possibly imagine. You know, and you have these lesbians, they get on there too. And they're doing these TikTok videos and stuff like this. And they're saying things like, and I'm not kidding, you get out there, look, get on TikTok, stuff like that. Get out there on social media. Look, you'll find it. It's out there. These people, you know, they're out there saying stuff like, oh, I can prove to you that there is no God. You want to know how I know there's no God? Because I wanted a little girl, and instead I got stuck with a boy. Now I can't even stand to look at the little bastard. You know, it's disgusting. And you know what's even worse? Now I got to come up with the money because now I got to turn around and I got to pay for the surgery to change them from a boy to a girl. So maybe then I can finally be able to look at the slimy little mutant. I'm not joking. They're actually saying this stuff. There's videos out there saying this stuff. Look at Megan Fox. Megan Fox has 3 boys, 3 sons. Okay? What does she do? She makes them grow their hair really long. And she makes them dress like girls, talk like girls, act like girls, do everything the way a girl would do it, and everything else. Okay? Now, it's one thing, you know, personally, I feel it's one thing if somebody, you know, grows up and they decide they want to, you know, transition, and they say, you know, like, I feel like a woman trapped in a man's body, and I want to go and do my thing, and, you know, I want to change and all that. I mean, that's up to them. They're grown-ups, you know, they can make their own decisions. But when you do this to a child, it's like, that is so wrong, you know. And it's like, you know, you're forcing them into, you know, I mean, like, one thing that children, majority of the time, that children do, you know, one thing they want more than anything is to love and be loved by their parents, or to love and be loved by their guardian. To, you know, they want love, they want acceptance. And I think, to me, that is one of the most cruel things in the world you can do. It's just horrible and cruel and mean to sit there and tell a child, you're not what I want. You're disgusting. I can't look at you. You're a boy. I don't want a boy. You know, maybe if you become a girl, then maybe I can, you know, stand to look at you. You know, you're awful, you're this, you're that. It's saying these things to a child. Can you imagine the psychological damage that does to a kid? And they're doing it. It's happening. You know? And now these kids are, you know, and that's the thing, you know, you come to find out a lot of times these kids are transitioning, and it turns out the only reason why they're even doing it is because they just want to please their parents, or they want to please, you know, later on, yeah, they come to regret it. But, you know, it's just like, you know, I did for my parents because my parents told me they wouldn't love me unless I did this. You know, and this kind of stuff does happen, and it's disgusting. It's horrible. And so, you know, it's like, okay, good work, you know. You do run the risk of raising, you know, future Angela Bakers and even Norman Bateses and all this kind of stuff. You know, it's like if you were any kind of, I'm sorry, I know I'm going on a rant here, I shouldn't be doing this, but, you know, if you were any kind of a decent human being, you know, you would love your child no matter what they were. Boy or girl, you would love your child. You wouldn't do that to them. You know, you would not be such a monster that you would do that to them. You would not sit there and tell them, you know, I can't love you because you're not this or that. But you know, I mean, I know it's like not every transgender, obviously not every transgender is going to go out and murder anybody and stuff like this. But, you know, it's like, considering the way this movie is done and everything else, it's like, it makes sense. You know, it makes sense, like, why Angela would do this. Like I said, number one, would do it to, you know, basically would do it to keep their identity a secret and not to be let it known what Angela really is. And then also, too, like I said, Angela is just, you know, she's not bothering anybody. You know, everybody messing with her. She's just getting revenge on, you know, just getting revenge on the people that mess with them. So, that's the thing. I would, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth a look. You got some really good kills in this. I think, to me, still to this day, I think easily one of the best practical special effects scenes I've ever seen is the moment where one of the characters gets an arrow through the throat. That is one of the best effect scenes I've ever seen. I always wanted to know it. Like, that's one of those, like, how was that done? That is so impressive, the way they did it. The way it was shot and everything. That was so cool, the way it was done. But one thing I do think is kind of funny is, like, how do you get one great scene like that with the arrow through the throat, but then you have the deputy comes, or the officer comes in, and he's got like the worst fake mustache you've ever seen. I mean, honestly, he looks almost like Groucho Marx, where, remember, like, if you ever watched Groucho Marx, he didn't really have a real mustache. He just kind of like painted, like he painted it on. That's what it looks like, But anyway, but I would definitely say, yeah, the movie has some fairly inventive kills. The practical effects are really well done. The movie, the story is interesting. Some of the acting is a bit off, definitely. Especially, like, the character of Judy, I'm sorry, but the actress is really, really kind of like really just chewing the scenery and not particularly in a great way. But, most of it's pretty good, The character of Ricky is definitely a standout. He's a lot of fun. He's kind of like the kind of kid, like, if you were a boy, like if you were going to camp, you'd want to be Ricky, But Ricky also, he's great in the sense that he really cares about Angela. He always wants to try to protect Angela as best as he can and defend her and everything else. So, but overall, I would say, yeah. The only thing I'm kind of thinking about, though, is, like, because of this movie and because of the ending and stuff like that, it does make me kind of curious to wonder, what are the chances this thing's going to get a 4K release? I wonder if they're like, I can't help but wonder if they're like, going to be like, yeah, this movie doesn't really need a 4K release. We consider it too offensive and stuff like that. But so I'm kind of curious. I'm going to sit back and wait with bated breath and see if that's actually ever going to happen. But I would say, if you are a fan of the movie, if you don't have it already, chances are probably pretty good. If you find this DVD, VHS, Blu-ray, however you come across it, I would definitely say you might want to jump on it just in case. Because this may be a movie they're going to try to be like, we just want this movie to go away. So, but yeah, I would definitely say get the Sleepaway Camp and give it a watch. It's definitely not, it's not the high end of 80s slasher movies. It's not going to run up there with, like, it's not going to be on the same par, obviously, like Friday the 13th or My Bloody Valentine or something like that. But still, I would say give it a shot. So it's a good 90 minutes. So, but anyway, that's pretty much it. So I'm sorry. I know I went on a long rant, and that's it. But here we go. So Sleepaway Camp. So if anybody, took the time to watch this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but, hey, just, I don't know what to tell you. But, so that's it. So take care, everybody. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the BodyBags channel. We have a different reviewer, one for every day of the week. And, well, I was the Saturday reviewer. I guess we're going to wait and see if I still get to be the Saturday reviewer. But, so anyway, so that's it, everybody. Take care. Have a good night, and I'll see you all later. Bye.